Show is hot out there, I tell you. Hello, my name is Carl Settles, and I'm the founder and executive director of E for Youth. And I'm stalling to make sure Umberto gets set up and I get the cue to officially start. We're good. So, what is now E for Youth started really 12 years ago when I started actually volunteering in Umberto Perez's classroom in Pflugerville, Texas at Connolly High School. And it's evolved over time into really an ecosystem. What we do, I guess to say what our mission is that we leverage the arts, sciences, and technology to bridge the gap for underserved or typically underserved youth, or I should say youth of color, ages 16 to 22, into the creative economy. Now, when I say the creative economy, advertising, technology, media, that's what's really driving the prosperity in our economy. And we're reaching a tipping point at which people can't afford to be creative anymore. Our students, if you don't have resources, if you don't have affluence, nobody's going to indulge your penchant for filmmaking or liking to draw. But if you say you want to be a scientist or an engineer, everybody gets happy. I have made most of my living in my life in technology, but I have a music degree. But if I would have not have been indulged in the things that I cared about, then I would have never found my way there. And what we're doing right now in our schools is we're systematically cutting out people that are extremely, there is nobody more creative than these people, and they're being cut out of opportunities where they could really flourish. If you don't know an opportunity exists, how can you aspire to it? And so that's ultimately what E for Youth is about. So we have these things called Get Creative Clubs, where we hire college students and young professionals to go into these schools. I see several of our teachers here, which is awesome. And they work directly with teachers to start an after-school club or during school club. And they have this employability curriculum that we use that really, I do want to talk about this. We are living in a socio-economic, political climate that our students of color in particular are under a constant barrage of psychological trauma, that their very existence is questioned on a day-to-day basis. They go into schools where most of the teachers don't look like them. That doesn't mean that those teachers can't connect with them, but let's face it, there's a wider gulf that's there. So ultimately what we're trying to do, and I've really been thinking about this a lot because we just went through an evaluation process, and the thing that we discovered that over the last 2 years, that whereas most of our students, and this really looks at not just what they're doing with E for Youth, but everything that they experience. 2 years ago, just under half of our students were what they call adequate or thriving, which is not great, but okay, that's cool. 8% of them were challenged, and the rest were vulnerable. Now, 2 years later, and 81% of our kids are vulnerable or challenged. The kids that are challenged, which was 8% 2 years ago, is now 28%, so it's more than tripled the percentage of kids that we work with that are just challenged. And these are things like how do they feel about their family, about their community, about their school, all of those things. And so I say that to say what E for Youth is really about is helping students build emotional resiliency. Because everybody's got talent, but talent's only going to get you so far. And Our students need to be given opportunity, because here's the thing, if you ask most kids, what are you good at? They can't tell you. What do you like to do? I don't know. Because all they're being told in school is, look, you got to pass this test, brother. And that's what they're seen as by a lot of folks, is just somebody that needs to score on a test so I can move on. And what we want to do is help teachers start to see our students as fully formed human beings that have things to offer. And our job is to help them unlock those things. That's really what it's boiled down to. So we have these Get Creative Clubs. We've developed this curriculum where we designed it where any instructor can go and start to build these relationships with students, help them leverage the things that they enjoy to build a portfolio, and then based on that portfolio, open up opportunities for them. And what you're seeing today is a culmination of what we've done for the past year. So we started off with a pool of nearly 200 students that participate in our clubs all around the city. I think 150 of those actually developed portfolios. I think, was it 80 of those developed portfolios that were worth anything? And we took 16 for the Shadow the Pros program. So we have 4 teams of 4 students working here this summer. And we're super proud of the work that they've done. I wasn't planning to make that little speech, but you know, I'm emotional. So I need to give thanks to the people that helped pay for this. So let me do that right quick. Special thanks to Wells Fargo, the Such Foundation, GSD&M, McGarrett Jesse, Rabbit Foot, and a whole bunch of other folks that help all of us collectively come together to make this thing happen. So today, each of our 4 teams is going to present. And I see that, I think everybody has some coaches here, so they'll present for about 5 minutes each. And then we'll open up for about 5 minutes of Q&A. Make sense? Yes? Did I leave anything out, Umberto? No? No? Thank you. So good to see you. I love your haircut, by the way. That shirt is, man, that's a cool shirt. Is that a burro? I'm sorry. I got distracted. So, without further ado, we're going to bring up our first team. And that is the GSD&M team. Come on up, ladies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are E for Youth, and we got to work with GSD&M, and our client was Pizza Hut. Over the past 6 weeks, we worked collaboratively as a team to accomplish one goal for our client. So now it's time for you to meet our team.
Hey y'all, I'm Karina, an advertising major at the University of Texas.
Hi, I'm Christy. I am also an advertising major at the University of Texas.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm going to be studying graphic design at Austin Community College this fall.
And hi, my name is Christian. I'm currently a freelancer, and I'm also getting my associate's degree at ACC.
So this summer, we went through a process. First, we researched.
And then we ate.
And we learned.
We practiced.
And most importantly, we grew. So for research, we got to know our brand. That was the first thing we focused on, getting to know where they're going and where they're currently at. But we also looked at the different roles that are in advertising, which is why we're really thankful that our mentors were there to explain what they do and how they go into making campaigns, which is how we were able to create our own campaign. And then we also looked at focus groups, because getting to know our consumers is important, because they're the ones buying our product. Now we have pictures of our research trips.
and then we had a chance to eat. So what we did was GSD&M and Pizza Hut were gracious to give us some coupons to visit the store and kind of look around and see what we think could improve on. And so I think we went about 4 times, so we've had pizza so many times, even today. But we didn't just go for fun. We also went to use those crafted focus group questions to ask the employees and the employers about their thoughts and their opinions on the store itself. And here are our eating sessions.
Lots of those. So moving on to what we learned. Over the summer, we learned that when coming up with ideas, there are 3 main ideas. There's your smart, your emotional, and your crazy, which really helped us narrow down to our final platforms. And with the help of our mentors and everyone at GSD&M, we got to experience what a work environment is really like. And they also talked to us about opportunities like Portfolio School, which I didn't even know about. And so, that's now we can think about moving forward. And here are some pictures of our learning experience.
So we practiced. We had multiple presentations to go over, not just this one, but we had one before for our client, and that was really nerve-wracking, but we practiced. We also practiced on our technical skills as far as improving softwares such as like Adobe and Canva. We just learned that. And then as well as practicing time management, we had to set appointments with our mentors to make sure that they had a good day, and booking rooms at the library and booking our appointments to definitely eat, because those have to be scheduled. And most importantly, we grew. We went from saying I to we, but yet remained focused on our individual selves and our weaknesses, and made sure to improve and build it on our strengths. So I personally grew courage and resilience, because I came back from a lot of bumpy roads within this process, but that's the whole process.
I feel like I became a better team member, and I'm very grateful for my teammates here.
I grew in being more confident in public speaking and networking with strangers. I was never really good at being very social, but this has really helped me do that.
Okay, so going into this program, I really didn't think that we would grow as close as we did. And also going in, I felt that I wouldn't talk to anybody, but I did, because I felt like if I didn't, I wouldn't make it in the world. So yeah, as an individual, I felt like I grew. And also we grew as professionals, definitely, thanks to our mentors, who in which are here today, Laura and Gabby. Would you come up here, please? Let's give a round of applause. Thank you, and for the final slide. Yeah, cheers.
Laura, do you want to say anything about that?
So any follow-up questions that y'all may have, you can ask us now, and also Laura will speak after her.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Cansano. I work for GZ&M as an ACD. Is my first time doing E4 Youth as a mentor, and it was an incredible experience for me. I wish I had that experience when I was young. It was awesome seeing these girls blossom and grow, and if anybody here in the room hasn't done it yet, I really encourage it, because it is a really great experience on both sides from a professional standpoint, and I think for them as well. They presented to the client this morning. They did awesome. The client was very, very happy with their presentation, asked for the deck so that she could present it to her boss. So I think that's something they should be really proud of. That's amazing. Unfortunately, they can't talk about details of the project because Pizza Hut's very secretive, but hopefully you'll get to see their ideas come to life in the next year or so, and they'll be able to tell you I did that, which is pretty amazing.
Questions?
So I realize you can't share many details details. Can you tell us what media you were working in? Is that possible? Or what types of campaigns?
Yes, so they were tasked with helping with, trying to, hold on. I don't want to sell myself. They were tasked with, creating an entire campaign. So not just, the pretty pictures and the end product, that we really wanted them to see the whole process. So that's why we made sure they went to the store and learn about the issues that were potentially there with the store, and then coming up with creative solutions to help, promote Pizza Hut as a whole. So it was just, we worked with the local franchisee that let us have them come in and come out and ask questions and all of that.
Any other follow-up questions?
Back there?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting how you found out about Portfolio School. Didn't even know that existed. I was in a very similar situation. Was there any other moments where you felt like doors opened for you all that you didn't necessarily consider before?
Actually, yes, doors did start to open. Once you put yourself in front of people, people end up reaching out to you and see that you're a very intuitive person and invite you to other events and potentially jobs. So yes, we did get offers and other things.
Did you break into individual roles, or did everyone share the work equally? Or as it went, maybe you started to feel like you became more of the project manager, or is there anything like that? Do you want to look at that?
Yeah, sure. At the beginning, we tried to figure out what each of us were good at, so that maybe we could determine roles, but eventually I think we just all kind of just went in, and everybody was just involved in every way. There wasn't one role, one person wasn't, art or typing. We were just all okay, we're all just going to throw ideas in there and have fun with it. So, yeah. Anything else?
One more question? Back there?
Yeah, this is kind of a research-based question. It's something I've been curious about, and since you guys are working for Pizza Hut, I think you guys might be in a good place to answer it. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Let me answer it first. No. We will all answer. No.
I will say yes. My last name is Piña, so yes, it does.
Yes.
Nah.
Fruit doesn't belong on pizza at all.
Tomato. Tomatoes are
Oh, true. I don't have anything else to say.
All right, well, let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So, awesome. I forgot to acknowledge Permanent as one of our sponsors for this project. And also forgot to acknowledge the Austin Public Libraries. So we were actually able to use Austin Public Libraries as really our co-working space for the summer. And that's the second year that we've worked with them. And we're actually looking at extending a much larger partnership with the Austin Public Libraries that I can't really go into all the details on quite yet. But they were really an important and pivotal partner in helping us make this happen. So next up, we have the McGarrett Jesse team. Welcome them, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, we're the McGarrett Jesse team. We've worked on a campaign for Lyft, and before we even get started, we just want to kind of guide you guys through what we're going to talk about in our presentation. So first off, we're going to introduce ourselves, talk about what we've worked on and what we've learned from what we've worked on, as well as, how we're going to implement our experiences into the future.
Hi, my name is Max. I'm going to be a senior in high school, and my passion is photography, and that's me, folks.
Hi, I'm Ricardo Villegas. I am currently going to be a senior at the University of Texas studying advertising, and I'm also passionate in photography, design, fashion, and just learning anything I can really get my hands on.
I'm Ash. I'm about to go into my junior year of high school. I do a lot of illustrations, both both digitally and traditionally, as well as dabbling in graphic design.
I'm Michaela. I'm about to be a senior at the University of Texas, also studying advertising. I'm a writer and a photographer, and I'm currently a copywriter in the Texas Creative Program.
So what did we do this summer, you might ask? Well, Lyft tasked us to develop and come up with a whole campaign for back to school for college age students, where we had to try to come up with ideas that would help increase downloads to the app and that would help promote a stronger brand image within college age students of Lyft. And also we needed to try to figure out ways, come up with ideas to make it something that they can interact with more. And so at the very beginning, we had developed different ideas that we thought were good at the beginning. They seemed really strong, but as time went on, we started learning new things, getting new information. We realized that maybe they weren't as good as we thought they were. So we had to learn.
And learned we did. We realized that being in advertising and just going over a campaign is a lot like growing pains when you're small. It's really hard. And we got lost because, McGarrett Jesse gave us the opportunity to do a whole entire campaign, going from media all the way to creative, and it was really amazing. But we got so lost in that process that we started to lose our premise, our overall theme for the campaign. And so talking to our mentors and getting great guidance from them, we had to reel it back in and really go back to our old ideas. These were some pieces from our original ideas, and we really went in and as a team started to talk and just see, like, what is your experience with school, even though you're not in college or even if you are in college. And we realized that a human truth within college students is dorm fever. That was our premise. What we describe dorm fever as is kind of what it sounds like. When you've been in school for so long, or when you're brand new to a campus, you don't know the area, you don't have any friends, you're kind of lonely in your dorm, and you're scared to get out there to see things. And so what we wanted to do was use Lyft as that driving force to get our students out there and to kind of free them from that dorm fever. And so these guys right here are little pieces. They're little tiny pieces from what we're going to be presenting to our client. Can't tell you too much because, you know, NDAs. But we're gonna have 3 activations and 1 really cool app idea that we're gonna present to them, and we hope they like. So yeah, these are cute little things we mocked up. And use Max.
Let's be honest. The future is scary. We don't know how we're going to get there or when. But during this process, we each learned that 3 things we could contribute into our future projects, or just anything. First, it's you have to have trust in your team and build that bond. Because if you don't build that bond, it's a lot of awkward stares across the room or like across the table. You don't want that. Second, you have to be open-minded and accepting of other people's ideas. You can't just shut them down right then and there, because if you're stuck on one idea, you're going to stunt your growth. You stunt your growth, you're missing out on opportunities, and none of us want that. Third, it's just have fun. You know, this don't need to be school. School has its moments, but it's school. So that's all I'm saying.
We just want to thank our mentors for overall just guiding us through this entire process, giving us new ideas, and just sort of helping us learn because, as they were saying, we got lost in our process and they kind of helped us guide us back on the right track. So we just want to give them a huge thank you. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it today, but shout out to our coaches at McGarrett Jesse. And any questions?
Hello. What difference did this make to each of you? To each of us. She wants individual questions.
All right. I guess I'll start. So I guess like as an individual, kind of working at McGarrett Jesse kind of made me realize like, hey, maybe going into advertising won't be so bad, because
You just offended like half of the room.
because like I don't know, I'm still in high school. Like advertising wasn't really an option that I thought I would like be open-minded to, but kind of working at McGarrett Jesse, it doesn't seem like it is so like straightforward, if that makes sense. There's a lot of like creative opportunities. There's like a new thing going on every single day, and I pretty much enjoyed just working at McGarrett Jesse and with my team. So kind of individually, like that's kind of what's opened up in my mind.
And for me, it really helped strengthen the decision that I made at the beginning when I entered into college. I had an idea of what advertising was, and through the years, I've been more and more like sure of the decision that I made, but just being able to work with different clients and seeing like what it's like from a day to day and the whole process just helped like make me happy in my choice that I have for my future.
So at school, I'm currently in the creative track, and going into this experience, we did a lot of everything, and it really solidified my preference when it comes to advertising. Mad respect to all the media people. I was so sad doing those, staring at the plans, so yeah.
I think what opened up my eyes is that being creative doesn't have to be me sitting on my desk, you know, when I can't sleep in the middle of the night. It's fun. I don't sleep, but it's fine.
So the background that you see right now and all the colors, it was supposed to be another, like part of our first idea that didn't end up working out so well, but we didn't want to just get rid of it, so we decided to use it for this slideshow to make it seem more fun and like happy. And basically, I just slid the slider until I found a color that I really liked, and that's how it happened.
Yes. Did you guys make all the illustrations yourself?
Yes. A lot of the work was created in Photoshop. Some of the illustrations are mine. Some of them are Ricardo's, such as like the background that you see right now. So yeah, all of it was just kind of us just all working together and creating these.
It's impressive.
Thank you.
My heart. So, 4 creatives, right? Working together. Tell me what was the hardest thing with that?
Give me it. I got one. It's listening to Ash rant about, they're not useless, but literally just anything that was set on his mind that day, like it could be about TikTok. And I have to sit there for 5 minutes just listening to him.
So also, we're 4 creatives. Our like attention span is all over the place. I mean, a lot of you here probably know what we're talking about. So it was a lot of like, okay, guys, wait, let's go back. That was fun, but let's focus. So it's a lot of focusing, being like focus. So
There were also a few times where one of us had an idea and the other didn't want to necessarily go with it. But in the end, with a lot of nagging and pressure, we ended up doing it and they ended up liking it. So it's just trying to see what works for both, and if it doesn't work, you can always go back. But if it works, then it works.
All right, I think we're done. I do want to give a special shout out to Michaela and Ricardo. Ricardo and Michaela are both were creative mentors this past year, so they led clubs at high schools. Ricardo actually returned back to his high school and led a club for David Dewar here is over at Aikens High School. A big part of what we're trying to do is we're really trying to create a pipeline. Students are far more likely to listen to somebody that's in college than, say, me. I mean, as swell as I think I am, somebody in college is much closer in age to them, and they can see the pathway to where they are much more easily than they can to a geezer like me, right? So that's a big part of this. And I'll talk a little bit at the end about this new thing we have, this thing called the Creative Leadership Academy, that's really going to build on that idea. But next, who's our next team? Next up, we have Team Rabbitfoot. Come on.
Thank you. That's my mom screaming. I'm Taylor Long. I'm Bethany Passell.
I'm Jamie Coram.
And I'm Brenda Duran. And we are the Romp.
So for over this past 6 weeks, we were given a challenge from E4 to create a short film that would promote the rate of civic engagement or community involvement in young marginalized people in the Austin area. To do this, we were paired with Rabbitfoot Studios, a production company in town. Specifically, Sam was our mentor, and they provided a lot of really great resources and equipment and knowledge as we moved from pre-production and kind of just having a concept to production and turning it into a thing. But getting there, we had a lot of different ideas that we floated.
Yeah, we owe a lot to Rabbitfoot for helping us kind of finalize what we wanted to do. For the first 3 weeks of the program, we were working on a sort of documentary short film idea that definitely would not have worked for the project we were trying to accomplish. So it shifted from the documentary into a live action or a stop motion animation film, and then finally a live action narrative. And that working with them, kind of getting through all the steps of the pre-production process, kind of helped us figure out that that's what we wanted to do. So yeah.
So because our film idea was ever-changing and evolving, we had to learn how to be much more flexible and adaptable to change than we were before. In addition to that, we also learned about some of the challenges that can come from working for a client, because if you have an idea in your mind and it's not meeting a client's standards or the person who commissioned your work's standards, then you're going to have to adapt your idea. So we learned about that.
Lastly, important of our team. Obviously, we all automatically connect for the first day. And from our work, doing a lot of projects, it was a road bump. Well, I'm mostly quiet, so they know about it. It's my first time talking, but thank you. But hold up. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being there, and it was so fun spending time with them, and the short form is awesome. And thank you, E4 Youth.
So we just want to thank E4 Youth and Rabbitfoot for all you guys' help the past 6 weeks. It's been a fantastic opportunity to do this. And without further ado, here's our film.
This is Anna. Anna's going to be a senior this year, and things are looking busy. Anna has a single mom that pushes her to work after school so she can help support the family. On top of that, she has to cook, clean, and take care of her younger siblings while her mom is at work 7 days a week. She doesn't have much free time. If she does, she uses it for herself. This is Anna's friend Deshaun. Deshaun lives with his grandmother, who's too old to work. She pushes him in school so he can go to college because his parents never did. She can't afford to save for him, so he works a job after school with a long commute. Anna and Deshaun live on the north side of Clifton, a town where people keep to themselves, trash lines the streets, and voter turnout is low. It's not that Anna and Deshaun don't see the problems in their community. They've just got other things that take priority, and the problems feel too big to fix. Besides, what could two kids do to make a difference? Anna and Deshaun have a new neighbor, Maya. Maya is also busy and has many responsibilities at home. She lives in a 2-bedroom apartment with 10 of her family members and no internet. Where she used to live, she liked participating in groups that improved her community and let her express herself. Those groups made her happy and gave her a way to escape from the pressure she felt at home and at school. When Maya met Anna and Deshawn, she asked if they could help her start a new group in Clifton like the ones back home. They said yes, and Deshawn asked some of his friends to join them. Their friends didn't understand why or how they could put so much time into it. Anna convinced her friends it could be a fun way to spend time together. Deshawn explained to them that helping the community looked good on his resume for jobs in colleges. Together, they spent an hour each week doing small things to improve their neighborhood and themselves. Maya wrote poems and read them in the neighborhood. Deshawn registered other seniors to vote. Anna organized a grade-wide cleanup. These activities helped them develop their skills and interests. Anna learned that she liked to lead and began teaching classes at the community center. Deshawn became a deputy registrar when he turned 18, another thing to put on his resume. Maya started a support group for other disadvantaged youth and found a passion for social work. Anna, Deshawn, and Maya found ways to improve their communities that didn't feel like work and made them happy. They aren't tackling enormous issues, but they're building a better world for themselves and others a little at a time. All they needed was a place to start.
Right there.
How did you go about writing? Because the dialogue was like fantastic, and that's a long piece of writing, narration that you had to write. So could you kind of talk about that process?
I mean, when originally we wrote that script for a stop motion animation, so it was going to be completely voiceover with like little animated characters doing all those scenes. I guess we kind of wrote it all together. We all contributed to the script and like kind of took turns. You actually put in a ton of overtime to get it done overnight because we were like running behind a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had a concept of what we wanted it to look like. Like we knew we wanted like these icons to like kind of visually represent a concept instead of like physically representing that, because that's very heavy. So going from that, it was kind of like trying to figure out the best way to do that, like prompt that in dialogue. And I guess that was kind of really the driving thing there. Anything else? Yeah.
You know, in life, barriers are always the thing that prevent, that prevent great ideas from becoming what they should become. And the fact that you guys shared with us that you had so many kind of moments where you were like, this is great. Oh, maybe it's not. This is fabulous. Oh, maybe it's not. And then to end up with that great of a product, if you could talk about kind of how you dealt with that frustration, because that's a lot of walls to hit in a pretty short period of time with that great of a product. Obviously, you guys did some pretty serious growth, so if you could talk about that, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think like a big part of it was that we kind of were constantly talking about everything that we were feeling internally, like amongst each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were so like Brenda said at the beginning, we all very much were bonding from like day one. We were like going on trips to get coffee or snacks or whatever like throughout the day, throughout the week. And like I think building that kind of connection with us made us much more open about sharing our feelings and frustrations. So whenever things weren't going our way, we were all able to like get upset about it together, and it made it less hard to deal with, if that makes sense. Do either of you guys? Yeah. If that answers the question. Cool.
One more question.
How did you arrive at the strategy of the strategic message of doing small acts? Like, how did you arrive on that message?
I guess, so one of the things, I guess, that people, as we researched about civic engagement, we realized that a lot of people probably think that it's, that you have to do like a lot of things to actually be civically engaged. Like it takes a lot of time and effort. And I mean, when you actually look into it and like realize what civic engagement is, and like it can be little things. It can be easy. It doesn't have to be hard. So, and since we knew that like a lot of the barriers from people getting civically engaged was like time and stuff, we knew that doing like presenting these little things was going to be the best like option for us.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Thanks,
Carter,
can I say something?
How's it going, guys? I'm Sam. So,
He's our awesome mentor. Thank you so much.
He's also a drone pilot.
first of all, I just want to say that what you guys did was amazing. And you guys just saw 2.5 minutes, but all the hard work that they put into it was hours and hours and hours. And it was, I got a lot out of just watching you guys. So props for that. The toughest part about production, it's easy when you have a lot of money. When you have a lot of money, you can location scout, you can cast for talent. We had, you know, some key actors and actresses in there. So the toughest part is when you don't have any resources and you don't have any money, how do you pull something off like this? And so what was amazing to see was each one of them had a very specific role, and the way that they just kind of fit into that all together without even talking about it. They just each immediately jumped into it. Taylor was the editor, and she learned After Effects in like a week. So animating all those logos up top, amazing. Bethany, little producer over there, I dragged her to a couple meetings with me. She's going to be producing a Costa photo shoot in Hawaii in a month. So she killed it. Jamie kept everybody on task. She had the overall vision. The writing was phenomenal. Again, the script. And then Brenda, just the technical powerhouse operating the camera, digging into it. And again, the other thing was, you know, they went from shooting their first rough cut on an iPhone to then shooting this whole thing on a Sony FS5, you know, professional camera. So that level jump in a 2-week span was amazing. You know, you're dealing with professional video equipment, and that just, you know, your exposure has to be spot on. The framing for how you guys did that was fantastic. So I just wanted to provide a little context, because it's easy to look at that 2.5 minute video, and 2.5 minutes, that's a lot of content that you guys want to shoot. And they were super open to adapting and changing, and super impressed. So great job, guys.
Thank you. Great job. So, last but not least, I'll give a little bit of explanation. And also, while I'm still thinking about it, I want to go ahead and acknowledge Carlton Wilcoxon. You can stand up, Carlton. It's okay, man. It's okay. So Carlton was our program coordinator for the summer, and so he worked with them very closely throughout the summer there in the library, making sure that they were on task, coaching them, and we really couldn't have gotten this done without him. So I wanted to give you a special kudos, Carlton. So before this last group gets up, I want to give a little bit of background. So for the last 2 years, E4Youth has been partnering with people in the technology realm. First of all, Capital Factory is one of our partners, and more recently, an organization called Permanent.org is one of our partners. And one of the big things we wanted to do is to get our creative kids into the realm of technology. We developed immersive storytelling curriculum. And basically what we've done is we've created a way for anybody to tell compelling stories using web VR within a matter of minutes. And as proof, we're also partnering with Latinitas and Intel with a program called She Will Connect, where we've actually been instructing their staff in our in our VR Remix curriculum. And this past couple of weeks, they've actually been doing it with elementary and middle school girls, and it blew my mind. I was like, wow. So one of the things that this team, the permanent team, is doing is they're developing a user interface, okay, that allows folks to be able to access the assets. That's the images and the audio that people use to put together these experiences. And the idea behind these experiences is that people are going out into neighborhoods and collecting oral histories of particularly of people of color, because our neighborhoods are changing so fast. And that also goes back to the stuff we're doing at the library that I can't really talk about. But I just wanted to give you a little bit more of an overview of that, because I think that'll make more sense. Their presentation will make more sense. So I'm going to invite the permanent team up along with their mentor, Daphne Issam. Come on up.
All right, thank you. We out here. This is Marley. So thank you guys for coming. Just like Carl said in the beginning, I mean, it's a Friday night, and for a room to be packed like this and being so supportive to the E4 Youth program is amazing. Before I do my introduction, I just wanted to, I mean, for me, working with these four young people was really great, and it brought a lot of nostalgia for me, because I remember being them a long time ago. And I remember being the kid that was in those statistics that Carl talked about early on, and wanting to do something and be something, the things that I saw on television. And so I wanted to give Carl a special shout out, because a program like this is really important, from a kid going from the point of saying, I want to be something, to actually being able to see it and practice in it, and it kind of helps reinforce their vision. And so, Carl, let's give Carl a round of applause. So, for me, we worked together as a team to create a user interface for E4 Youth, to hopefully help make it easier for kids to get to those assets that he was talking about with the VR remixing. I really enjoy working with these four. We have Marley, who's going to be a senior this year, Jennifer, who's going to be a senior this year, Andrea, who's going to be a senior at UT. Sorry, these two are high school seniors, and she's a senior in college. And then Bryson, who recently finished his BFA at Texas State University.
And Daphne is a former senior product development, product manager at IBM. So they had a pretty damn cool coach. I'm just saying.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was really fun, because I was able to have, I told Carl earlier, I was like, I'm at a place in my life where I just want to have fun. and I was having a lot of fun, so it made it all worth it. So anyways, I'll pass it off to these guys.
Hi. You already know my name. Okay, so at the beginning of the summer, my team and I were presented with a problem. E4 had files that they needed to store, but didn't have their own place to put them. They had to resort to using third-party platforms like Glitch and GitHub. So, over the span of 6 weeks, my team and I went through the entire user experience design process to remove the middleman and develop an E4 web application, an E4 website, to hold all the necessary files. And we started with the problem statement. As a VR storyteller, students need to quickly and efficiently gather multiple assets like JPEG, MP3, image, audio files from the E4 Youth Image Gallery view. And we proposed a solution. It was inevitable that E4 would need a native asset, which means E4's own website, library for ease of access, an embedded gallery that could hold image and audio files, and would remove the middleman and allow students to fetch assets all from the same place. And this is just a random person we've never ever seen before. And this is the entire user experience process that I talked about earlier that we went through. We made personas, requirements, use cases, sketches, wireframes, prototypes, and interaction design. I would explain all of them to you, but that would take way too long. So I'm gonna just say my favorite two, wireframes and prototypes. They were really fun, and it made me feel like I was official, you know, because I'm in high school, I'm a junior, and oh God, that got really loud. I don't do official things, you know. I'm in high school, everything's in the air and confusing. So making things like wireframes, which is like a skeleton of what you're actually gonna implement onto a website, it makes you realize that you're doing something really important. And yeah, and prototypes was actually animating the website. So like basically what you see before you see it. Yeah, which is really cool.
All right, E4 Youth's current design is using Glitch to upload and view files, so your images and your audio files. And then they're using GitHub to kind of store them, so you don't really see them, but they're there. And these are both third-party platforms. They're kind of difficult to use because E4 doesn't have an actual relationship to them, so they are harder to manipulate. We ended up coming back here to Capital Factory, and we met up with Jerry Peters, who's a full-stack software developer at Permanent. We all, like Marley said, we did sketch wireframes with him and kind of showed him what we wanted, and this helped us discuss what he could help make happen, like Permanent's team could help make happen. Oh, what I got out of this experience was that earlier this year, should I say, I created like an app with the class that I had in high school, and like our app, I didn't know anything about the UX design process. Like that wasn't me. I came back here, I learned, and I was like, what? So I went back during the summer, and I actually redid the whole thing. Like I did it. So.
After sketching and collaborating, we took our design and solidified it. As you can see here, this is our wireframe. Our wireframes dictate where everything will go, how to access assets and files, as well as digitize our design. All right, once Permanent created an initial design, we took it, created a prototype, and then elevated its user flow interface. Yeah, wow. Technology. Our goal is to actually integrate this into the E4 Youth's native website, as well, instead of relying on third-party front end, such as Glitch. E4 Youth will now use Permanent as our back end to also store files and assets, as well as create better accessibility to the students.
All right, so to highlight some of the key features of the asset gallery we created, one of the first things is, so first of all, we wanted to create something that was easy for students to access. This is high school kids / college students, and so we wanted to create an interface that was recognizable to them and use sort of iconography that they would know. And so we used Google Images and Google Drive as sort of our inspiration for how we would design this thing. And one of the first features we wanted them to be able to do is toggle between their thumbnail and list view based off of their personal preference. And then they would also have the ability to filter their assets. So they can filter it based off of JPEG or MP3. They can also search based off of the location of the assets. And then, so students will also be able to have the ability to view their liked assets and download them individually or as a group altogether. And so just to kind of recap, we created asset library that was much easier to access. You didn't have to go through a bunch of hoops going to Glitch or GitHub to do just one thing. We brought it all to the E4 website where they would be able to pull all of the assets from the Permanent database with a much more user-friendly interface. So for me personally, I got a lot out of this program because I'm pursuing a career as a UX designer myself, and so this being a real live tangible project that I could work on and learning how to communicate with project managers and software developers and kind of making sure that the language that we're all speaking is the right language so that the thing I'm transferring over to them is what I'm looking for. And so Daphne was a huge help with that. Robert, shout out to Robert. Jerry, the software developer from Permanent, they were both a really huge help in that. And so without further ado, we have a 1-minute video just showcasing sort of oh yeah, mess with the volume. Just showcasing kind of how high school will navigate the website from the point they get on it to where they leave.
All right, are there any questions?
Questions?
What do you think the hardest part of designing the website was?
I didn't know how to do it at all. Yeah.
Okay, are you translating?
Oh, my mom's deaf. I was just telling her what I said. Yeah. Yeah, I'm done.
All right. So one thing to take away from this was me and Bryson, we had some previous experience with UX design and having a not too big of an age gap with working with high school students. 5 years gap experience. I mean, Bryson's our senior, you could say. So, one big takeaway is also applying everything that we've known and learned about creating the website and also creating those features. We taught them, everything that we know, and it was also a good learning experience for us because, coming from somebody like both of us, like being in college and whatnot, there is always something to learn, despite, thinking you know everything, but there's always something to know more.
Daphne was also a huge help with that, like just having someone who was super experienced in what they knew they were talking about, just having us kind of, because I learned a lot of it too. I mean, I had prior knowledge of UX, but her coming in and giving us kind of more industry specific knowledge, terminology and things like that, it just made it so much better. And I feel like I can speak for everybody when I say like from when we came into the program and now like we have a completely different perspective on UX. We're much more knowledgeable about it. Might mess around and design something for y'all in the future. You can never know. But yeah, it was just a wonderful experience. Got a lot out of it.
I wanted to add too that when the first day I came, Carl and Megan were in the meeting and they were kind of downloading like what they wanted. And then Carl said something like, "I know enough to be dangerous." And I was like, what? And it was just like one of those things where we were just kind of making sure that we were all speaking the same language, because I think that's like a critical part in design, where I kind of view Carl as like the client, where he's saying, this is what I want, and then all of us getting together and saying, okay, this is what we think he just said, and I remember Megan and Carl left, and then I just like went, because I've been doing this for a long time, so I kind of just went into this like overdrive mode of like got the dry eraser board, the pen, and I just started drawing, and then Bryson is like, can you tell us something about you? And I just thought that was so hilarious, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm not at work. Like I'm, this is like, I'm mentoring, and so, so that part was like, a big part of, I think, what you're asking in terms of like the challenge of like coming together and making sure that we're all on the same page. And I think that, they're giving me credit in terms of kind of driving them and giving them direction. But one of the things that I really, really enjoyed about this entire team is how self-driven they were and how much initiative that they were taking on their own. Like, I would come in, I met with them every week for a few hours, and we would meet. We'd just go into overdrive. I mean, I'd be exhausted at the end when I got home with my 2-year-old who had all the energy. We would just like drive like what it is that we're trying to do, and then we'd give, out the task, and then the next week I had all the confidence that that thing would be done, because they would text me or email me like, hey, here's a roadmap, here's a roadblock I hit, or what do you think about this? And so that was a critical part, I think, into helping them produce such a great end product.
Any other questions?
One more question?
I'm just curious from our kind of creative, students about, are you surprised about how you were able to use your design skills, your creative skills, and apply it to a more technology-driven product?
Did you want to take it? Sure. Are you sure?
You got it.
Yeah, we'll both go. Okay. Okay, so just to reiterate for your question, what's really great about UX design is that it's very much of a niche field, and any any major or any type of experience can actually play a really great role in UX design. And so I wouldn't say it was too surprising because everyone brought something to the table. Let's say like Marley more for fashion design, and Jennifer knowing like a lot of photography and also even coding. When she mentioned she also created apps in her time in high school. So what was really great about this project in terms of creativity is that everyone had a different source of creativity, and that's what really put the UX design and this whole project really like well together. And even like this whole team, like we were also very, we also had like this really great bond from day one as well, and that also played like a really big part in expressing our creativity together.
Okay, I just want to say, like, for me, it's always been like, oh, I do photography and all this stuff. Last year, I took a different class, and I was like, oh, UX? It wasn't nothing like this process, because I didn't know about wireframing or sketching or personas. I didn't know any of that. So right when I came over here, and they were like, oh, UX, and I was like, what? But it clicked. Like, as soon as I got in there, I was like, oh my God, like I began to understand it so much more than what I knew then. And I mean, now I think I like it. I see it as maybe, now I know I like it. I see it as maybe I can do this as a job. Like I've been changing my mind a lot. And I mean, I really liked it, so.
No, I was gonna say, Marley, in the rehearsal, you said something that was really interesting, is that you didn't think it was possible for you to do this type of work. You want to speak to that?
Hi.
Hi, Marley.
Yeah, in high school, like I'm an average student. My grades are average. I don't talk too much in school. I'm like, teachers don't know me as the kid who will go out and do the best in class. And so that kind of, I thought that way about myself. I didn't think I could do too much. But then I came into this program just trying to take a chance, trying to learn more. And it helped me realize that I'm capable of a lot more than I thought I was. I mean, I designed it. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
Okay. Inspiration. Do you have anything to say? Or?
I was just gonna say, like, to kind of go back to your question, like, it was a lot easier to work on this project knowing that as, just as creatives and as E4 students, this was something made for E4 students. And so we are the user that we're building for, which is kind of a rare case in UX, which usually you're building for someone else. But in this case, it was like they were a super big help because they're in high school, and so we were targeting high school students who were like, does this make sense to you? Where should we put this button? So we kind of had like an advantage in that regard, but we're all creatives. We all know what we would like to see, like features that we would like to have if we were using something like this. So that played a huge part in like, it was really smooth. It was really easy for us to kind of figure out what we needed. And that's it.
Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're near the end, and I want to thank everybody for coming out. In the coming year, and also, that's right. Thank you, see, you reminded me. Before I go off into my spiel, Umberto has some superlatives that he would like to award. And this is Umberto, our education director, ladies and gentlemen. Umberto is my hermano chingon.
You want to translate that to English?
No, I do not. But y'all get what I'm saying. No, Umberto, like I said, I started volunteering in this man's class 12 years ago. We are still seeing some of those same people that we interacted with in your class. We still talk to them to this day. They still bother us. You play in a band with one of them. So we would not be able to do what we do as an organization without this guy. I make shit up and he makes it happen. Just saying.
Thank you, Carl. So, I'd like to recognize some outstanding participants in Shadow the Pros, but before I do, I want to give a big shout out to Park Street from Precision Camera, because he's donated some gift cards that I'm going to be giving out. Park, stand up please, because I want them to see who you are. And so all of you that are, yes.
I'd just like to say how honored I am to help them.
Thank you, Park. And so I want all of you participants to see Park, because go to him. He'll give you discounts there. He'll hook you up, right? Student discounts, he'll hook you up. All right, so I want to recognize, I asked each coach or set of coaches to pick an outstanding team member from the whole team. And I heard that it was very difficult from every team. They had a hard time. Unfortunately, we can only pick one. And so I'm going to call you up. So come up here. Let's recognize you. Stay up here, and then we'll take a picture all together. And then at the end, I'll announce the most outstanding Shadow the Pro from all of you, all 16 of you. Come up. All right, so from McGarrett Jesse, I'd like to recognize Michaela Dumas. Yeah, stay up here. From the Rabbit Foot team, I'd like to recognize Bethany Bissell. From the GSD&M team, we'd like to recognize Karina Mata. All right, so I fibbed a little bit. I let Permanent get away with letting two. She couldn't make up her mind. So, Bryson Williams and Andrea Denau. All right, and our most outstanding Shadow the Pros participant this year, that was really more of Carlton's decision. We talked about it, but Carlton had a lot to do with it because he was there day in, day out, working with all of them. And what he said about this particular participant was that this person was always the first person in and the last person out. They just worked very hard and diligently on their project. They really brought their group together. And just the passion that she showed for film just really shone through. So our most outstanding STP participant is Taylor Long. So I'm going to call Carlton up here so he can take a picture with us too. Who's got my camera? There you go.
Good job.
Oh, thank
you. Here, I'll get on this side.
Let's have everyone get closer together right here. There we go.
Hey, I
I'm
know about
going to get the first one, so everyone, everyone's okay with it. All right, there we go.
All right, thank you. Congratulations. And make sure you talk to Park.
Awesome. So, we done? I think we're actually almost done. So I want to say that this fall, we have a new partnership that we're going to be launching with the University of Texas at Austin. We are actually launching what we're calling a Creative Leadership Academy. So we hire college and young college students and young professionals to lead our clubs. And last year, over the last year, we grew our pool of those folks from 10 to over 25. And now this upcoming year, we're going to actually grow our pool to almost 50 students. And we're partnering with the University of Texas UT School of Moody School of Communications. Is that how it goes? Yeah. UT School of Communications and the Division of Diversity and Community Engagement to really launch this Creative Leadership Academy. So we'll be training people that will be leading our clubs, but we're also, with this immersive storytelling curriculum, we've started a new product that's also a part of the Austin Impact Accelerator, and it's called Digital Docent. And what that project is that we're actually, they get stipends, they come and they work with us every week, those that aren't leading clubs, and they go out into the communities, into the Carver Library community, the Windsor Library community, and the Southeast Library community. And they're going to be collecting oral histories of residents that are there, older residents of color that are being pushed out of those neighborhoods. They're going to be collecting those oral histories. And this is a call to action to you professionals out there, because what it is an opportunity for them to build their skill sets, like teach them to frame a shot, teach them to light, teach them to do proper sound, all of the blocking and tackling types of things that it takes to make quality media. And for those, so they're going to be going out and doing those things every week as a part of this Leadership Academy, and they get a stipend for that. And then we review, as the professionals review those assets, and if they reach a certain level, they get another stipend per asset. Okay, and so we're actually going to be building a permanent archive outlining the history of people of color throughout Austin, Texas. And this is something that we're really at the beginning of. And I say this over and over again, come join our community of practice and help us make this happen. We need all sorts of help. Everything from just your time to your money. You know, it's real. It's real. So if you have been inspired tonight, please feel free to ask me. I also want to acknowledge our board president, Bill Hopkins, back there. Talk to Bill. Talk to Bill, talk to me, talk to Umberto. We need your help. Seriously, we do need your help.
And think about what this project does for Austin. Beyond what we need, Austin needs this project. Carl has been working on this for years. This is huge. Think of the divides in Austin. Think of the conflict in Austin. Think of the stories you hear about in the news. Carl is at the forefront of this stuff, and this type of storytelling doesn't happen anymore. We walk by a corner and go, what used to be there? With this project, this thing is so cool, y'all have no idea. He blows my mind every time we talk about it. This is the kind of stuff where you walk by a corner and you say, what used to be here? You pull it up electronically and it tells you what used to be there. And through these docents, through your help, people tell you what used to be here. And the person that was there tells you, this was my house for 5 generations. That is cool, people. That is a cool project. That is a part of history that Austin is not capturing, and Carl has stepped up to make happen. So I just want you, and partly I'm doing my job, but more importantly,
My man.
I want you to appreciate how cool this project is. So whether or not you want to help us, be a part of something really cool. This is history making, and this is building a legacy forever. You can be the person that walks past the corner and goes, yeah, I helped them make that. That corner, yeah, I was a part of that. That's how cool this is.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for those kind words. This is a labor of love, and we need your help. So if you want to help, come talk to us, and we wish you all safe travels going home. And Umberto?
I just want to acknowledge my other hermano chingon, Victor Juarez.
Uno, thank you. Absolutely. Oh, and we have another board member here, Dandy Wright is here. Did I miss anybody else? Oh, we got Oscar Jack. He's here with his burro t-shirt on. Now, you gonna slink down now that we're acknowledging, man? Come on, man. No, this really is a community. It's really a family type of atmosphere, and we're not interested in one-off relationships. We're interested in long-term relationships and building and growing together. So join us, and you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you. Enjoy it.